6, 7, 8, 9, 10. ...2005 was like a really big year for us in that we were just working a whole bunch. You know, we had started an acoustic tour of the U.S. Then we toured the rest of the year as the Electric Band, and then we picked up the second half of the country in the fall. We knew that this record was on schedule. We had to start thinking about blocking some recording time and some writing time. David and I spent a big part of 6 weeks calling each other, asking, "You got anything? No, do you?" And back and forth a whole bunch.
For this record, I had a hard time. I know we had a hard time. Just getting started, getting it rolling, you know, and nothing was happening, man.
We didn't even know where we were. You know, usually we have about 2 or 3 songs where we'll go into the studio, which serve as kind of just jump start for the rest of the record. We didn't even have that by about the 5th week of the writing period. Finally, about a week before we went in, David called me and says, I have these 3 ideas. I'm going to drop a CD off at the house, see what you think.
Yeah, we still do that. I mean, there's still that shyness about it, you know, where, you know, drop off the tape and run, you know. And if the lyric ideas, you know, he'll put them in an envelope and put them in my mailbox. And that's mail at night.
2 in the morning when nobody's around.
Yeah, I see his tail lights.
Why is that? I wonder.
You're letting your guard down. You know, you're doing something you think is cool. You just hope that the other person thinks it's cool too.
And it's always a big relief once.
And then when it comes together, it's all right. It's like
So what do you think? Hey man, that's cool. Okay,
right, good.
The very first one?
Was that the demo?
The first one that I heard?
No, I don't know.
Well, you know, along with this one, I already talked about it that way. Is it the same batch was the Valley and
I probably put them all together.
Yeah.
Just 5.
Yeah, you know what? It was the Valley and
that one.
And that one. On the first demo you gave. I put it on, and the first song was the song that was going to become the Valley. And when I heard that demo, with all its atmospheric, surreal sort of sonics going on, I knew immediately that we had started.
In ancient times, to a place so far away, across the land where the earth was as tough as clay, looked at their hands, looked all around, and they seemed pleased at what they had found. Here in the valley, bread on the table.
It sounded like some primordial ooze sort of soundtrack. You know, it had all these really great sounds and atmosphere, and very cinematographic. You know, and it was definitely a starting point. So when I started to work on melody and lyrics for it, I took that whole idea of just getting started. Here I am in a new place on this record. The song is about a journey to a new place. I thought of indigenous people coming to a new world, to settling in a place. I imagined them reaching the top of this hill and looking down at this beautiful valley, where they realized, you know, this is where, you know, I can set my roots. The second song that was on the CD that David gave me was sonically different from the first one. So I knew that this wasn't going to be a record that was all about atmosphere. You know, we go song by song. For us, the thing kind of unfolds as we go. I can't remember ever having like the excess of 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 songs going in. 2 or 3 songs. We're like sculptors, We get this huge block of stone and you just start chiseling away, and then you realize that something is starting to reveal itself. And as it reveals itself, you kind of go with it. And then sometimes, it's starting to look like this, or starting like, and that's pretty much how we approach, making a record. David and I are songwriters. I would be discounting him immensely if I said he was just a musical component, and I'd be discounting myself if I said just a lyricist. We've been songwriters together. We've been writing songs for, do I dare say, 37 to 38 years, ever since when I went over to his house one day after I got out of high school. I went over to his house one night for about 3 months, and writing songs. Ideally, we would both sit down with a guitar, pad of paper, and a pencil. Believe it or not, some people still use that. I guess maybe now I would say that a guitar and a laptop. As time becomes more of a premium over the years, we've kind of split it up where I get ideas and I drop them by him, and he'll come by and drop ideas off to me. Sometimes it'll just be a musical idea with no melody at all, and that's when I'll ask Dave, well, could you map this out for me? Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it isn't, where the verse goes, where the chorus goes. Then I'll start to listen, and there might be an old idea, a lyrical idea that I've got kind of laying around that I've been thinking about for a while. Or it might be just something, more often, is something that is like maybe an emotional thing, or just a vibe, or something that musically will just kind of give me an idea of where to go lyrically. If he's got one, I'll just try to adapt lyrics to his melody. If not, I'll come up with the melody and then ultimately teach it to him, show him that this is how it goes, what do you think? And then we'll both get together on how it should be laid out so we can actually present it to the band and record it in the studio. This record was really an interesting record. I haven't felt this way about a record since Kiko. Not discounting any of the other records. Just as a songwriter and as a musician, this just feels different to me. Whether this is autobiographical or not, that's it's a really tough question. I want to have to say yeah, but I don't want to say yeah. It just that's how brutally honest this record is, and I know that these questions are going to come up, and I haven't really quite figured out how I'm going to handle this. We're going to head back to the old neighborhood and just take a look at where I grew up and.